Greetings everyone and welcome to Spacing Out. I'm Jason McClellan.
And I'm Maureen Elsberry. Thanks for joining us.
It's time for us to get you caught up on some of the space and UFO stories that have made headlines recently.
UFO enthusiast John Podesta was recently appointed to serve as one of President Obama's senior advisors.
Podesta was Bill Clinton's chief of staff and assisted with Obama's transition into the White House in 2008. He's also known to be a sci-fi enthusiast and has been involved with efforts to get the government to disclose all it knows about the UFO phenomenon.
Podesta served on Clinton's staff from 1993 until Clinton left office. His final position was as Clinton's chief of staff. He remained influential in politics through a liberal think tank that he founded called the Center for American Progress.
Podesta is a known sci-fi buff. He made headlines during his tenure in the White House when he had an X-Files themed birthday party. How cool is that? His sci-fi interest aside, the depth of his interest in UFOs was revealed when he spoke at a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., asking the government to release its secret files on UFOs so that scientists can determine the nature of the phenomenon.
This 2002 press conference was the work of the Coalition for the Freedom of Information and was headed by journalist Leslie Kean, along with the Sci-Fi Channel. The purpose was to address the issue of secrecy regarding the subject of UFOs.
At that meeting, Podesta stated, "It is time for the government to declassify records that are more than 25 years old and to provide scientists with data that will assist in determining the real nature of this phenomenon." He made this comment in front of several major media representatives in attendance.
UFO disclosure advocates are hopeful that with Podesta having the president's ear, progress might be made towards the release of government-held UFO information.
A new study suggests that life could have been transferred from the inner solar system to the moons of Jupiter and Saturn.
Panspermia, the theory that life can spread through space, has been studied by many scientists. Earlier this year, scientists posited that life on Earth was seeded by Martian life that made its way to Earth by hitching a ride on a meteorite.
But for this latest study, astrophysicist Rachel Worth explains that she and her team at Pennsylvania State University wanted to scale the simulation up in the hopes of seeing transfer to Jupiter and Saturn.
Worth, the study's lead author, and her colleagues analyzed the simulated trajectory of thousands of rocks to see where they might have traveled after being expelled from both Earth and Mars. According to Worth, the team simulated more than 100,000 individual fragments.
Astrobiology magazine explains most of these meteoroids slammed back into their home planet. A great many rocks were also either swallowed by the sun or left the solar system entirely. In addition, large numbers hit planets more inward in the solar system from their home planet. For Earth, that means Venus and Mercury, and for Mars, that means Earth, Venus, and Mercury. However, a small fraction of meteoroids did hit planets outward from their origin.
Scientists have previously suggested that organisms could survive in rocks ejected from impacts for up to 10 million years. The researchers in this latest study calculate that approximately 83,000 meteoroids from Earth and 320,000 from Mars could have crashed into Jupiter within this time frame.
Likewise, approximately 14,000 meteoroids from Earth and 20,000 from Mars could have impacted with Saturn in that time. According to Astrobiology magazine, since the moons of Jupiter and Saturn are relatively close to their planets, the meteoroids may have crashed into many of these moons as well. Researchers estimate that Saturn's moons Titan and Enceladus and Jupiter's moons Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto should have each received between 1 and 10 impacts both from Earth and from Mars.
The team's findings suggest that although the chances are slim, life could have potentially been transferred from the inner solar system to the moons in the outer solar system. Worth explains that, based on her team's research, when planning missions to search for life on Europa or other moons, scientists will have to think about whether they can distinguish between life that is or is not related to that on Earth. The team's findings were published in the journal Astrobiology.
Scientists educated members of the U.S. House of Representatives about the search for extraterrestrial life at a hearing held in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, December 4th.
The Committee on Science, Space, and Technology, chaired by Representative Lamar Smith, met for the 2-hour meeting titled Astrobiology: Search for Biosignatures in the Solar System and Beyond. The hearing charter outlined the hearing's goal, describing, "The purpose of this hearing is to examine astrobiology research and the search for biosignatures in our solar system and beyond." The hearing will include a general assessment of the multi- and interdisciplinary nature of astrobiology research, including the role astrobiology plays in formulating NASA space missions. It will also examine the techniques and capabilities necessary to determine the potential for the existence of biosignatures within our solar system. With the discovery of potential Earth-like planets outside of our solar system, the hearing will also investigate what methods are being used to determine if any of these planets may harbor life. The hearing will explore existing and planned astrobiology research strategies and roadmaps.
3 leading scientists presented testimony at the hearings. They are Dr. Mary Wojtek, Senior Scientist for Astrobiology, Planetary Science Division at NASA, Dr. Sarah Seeger, Class of 1941 Professor of Physics and Planetary Science at MIT, and Dr. Stephen Dick, Baruch S. Bloomberg Chair of Astrobiology at the John W. Klug Center in the Library of Congress. These scientists discussed exploration technology, like the James Webb Space Telescope, emphasizing the importance of exploration ventures to the search for extraterrestrial life.
Dr. Seeger explained NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST, scheduled to launch in 2018, will be capable of studying the atmospheres of a subset of the TESS, or Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite, which is scheduled to launch in 2017, rocky exoplanets in visible, near-infrared, and infrared light. We anticipate TESS will find dozens of super-Earths suitable for atmosphere observations by JWST, including several that could be potentially habitable.
Representative Ralph Hall asked the scientists, "Do you think there's life out there?" Seeger explained that the Milky Way galaxy contains 100 billion stars, and the universe may contain 100 billion galaxies. Then she stated, "Do the math." As The Guardian reports, when the 3 scientists were asked for brief answers to the question, "Is life out there?" the response was simply yes, yes, and yes.
This hearing came just a day after the announcement that 2 studies revealed that the Hubble Space Telescope detected water in the atmosphere of 5 planets outside the solar system. As NBC News reports, the 5 exoplanets with hints of water are all scorching hot, Jupiter-sized worlds that are unlikely to host life as we know it. But finding water in their atmospheres still marks a step forward in the search for distant planets that may be capable of supporting alien life, researchers said.
CBS 6 in Virginia says they were asked to explain a UFO that streaked across the sky in a video that aired during one of the station's recent newscasts.
In the video, a streak of light is seen in the background. A similar streak appears later in the video, too. According to CBS 6, they checked to see if there were any meteors reported that night, but the video was from before the Gemini meteor show began.
The station also attempted to reach NORAD, but could not get a hold of anyone there. And in typical tongue-in-cheek fashion, they also did a lot of joking about trying to find out if Superman had been hired by a local business, or if he was promoting his new movie, or if Santa had been test driving his sleigh.
Finally, CBS 6 said they got the answer they were looking for from their own head of photography. They say, "Turns out we can identify our flying object as a plane captured while using a slow shutter speed."
I think they've got this one right, because we've seen this type of photo before. And the one that really comes to mind was from 2011, late in 2011 in New Orleans during a football game when they were doing time-lapse photography, one of the NBC photographers.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking of. So I don't really have anything else to say. I think they got 100%.
And, you know, we do see photos like this. I think it's good for people to be able to look at these and see, because they do look so bizarre. You see airplanes going through the sky in different lights, and it does change in each frame.
Right.
So I encourage people, do go to ufominds.tv and look at that photo, because those are some of the weirdest looking UFO photos that most of the time will be airplanes in the sky. Let's talk about Podesta and the whole Obama thing here, because this has been news before, back during the Obama transition into the White House, because Podesta was assisting with that, and people were thinking, oh, here's a UFO advocate. Right with Obama, here comes disclosure.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen. A lot of people don't believe the president knows anything anyways, and Podesta is not going to have that much influence on releasing secret documents. Do I think it's great that somebody who wants UFO disclosure is in a high position? Yes, but that doesn't mean we're going to see any sort of changes from this.
Yeah, for sure. It's certainly a good thing to have a UFO advocate with the president's ear there, able to talk. But, you know, like we mentioned, he already tried to assist Clinton with looking for UFO information. So, you know, people will believe what they want to believe, and, you know, think that, you know, how hard did Clinton try, or what does Obama know? We won't really know.
No.
But it's better than not having him there.
Right, I say keep pressing on, Podesta.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, that is all for this episode of Spacing Out. Thanks so much for joining us, and remember to visit openminds.tv for all the latest news. And if you're a podcast listener, go to openminds.tv/radio and check out Open Minds UFO Radio.
Make sure to click on the like button if you enjoyed today's show, and remember to subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to register for the 2014 International UFO Congress. This is the largest annual UFO conference in the world, and it's all happening February 12th through the 16th in Fountain Hills, Arizona. All the info is at ufocongress.com.
Thanks for watching Spacing Out this year. We really appreciate your support. Because of the holidays, we'll be taking a few weeks off, but we'll be back in 2014. From all of us at Open Minds, happy holidays.
Thanks again for joining us today. I'm Maureen Elsberry.
And I'm Jason McClellan. We will see you in the future.
If you have a UFO sighting or something you would like to report to Open Minds, you can go to our website at openminds.tv and click the contact button to send us your request. Or you can email us at contact@openminds.tv. You can also call us at 1-877-UFO-0110. That's 1-877-836-0110.